Hi friends, this is Katie Carney and this is my Flosstube number 83. It is the 17th of June. It's a Saturday here in Scranton. We have some smoke today, so it's sunny out, but it's a little not sunny all at the same time. I do have my fan going. I hope that noise isn't too loud, but I just need the airflow because this is going to be a WIP parade mid-year. I have my whoops, oh, it's gonna twist. I have my list of WIPs here, and I put them, so this list is not in any particular order. It's just, I just put them in, and that's the order they're in. And so I did pull them out so that they're in that order, so that if I needed information on them, I would be able to find it easily. So I do have a couple finishes first that I'm going to show you. Everything's going well here. I had to get a new car key made today. Embarrassing story. So I have leggings on, and they're like a dark, like a sagey green. They're actually almost the same color that the harvest is on that I'm stitching. So I'm at the store getting a new key, and I feel down on my leggings, and I was like, why is there a tag on the outside of my leggings? And then I was like, oh my gosh, my pants are on inside out. I left the house. I went to the hardware store, and I was at the hardware store for a while with my pants on inside out. Then the guy was in the middle of programming the keys, so I couldn't leave. So there I am with my inside out pants. So when he finished, I went next door to the grocery store and had to take my pants all the way off and put them, oh, they're backwards too. They're Old Navy leggings, and they kind of have an exposed seam, so you can kind of, I understand how I did it, but I was still horrified. So that was my embarrassing story for the day. Although I'm very happy to say that I do have a car key again. Thank you, God. So let's talk about stitching. My first finish was, so I have 3 finishes today. They're all small though. So my first finish was Winter Holiday Collection Santa and Rudolph by Mill Hill. And y'all, for this I had to do French knots, which I am not good at. Next time I'm just going to use beads. So there that is. I just have to cut it out and back it. I'm going to make an ornament out of this. It came with a magnet, but I'm going to give it to my friend's kiddo for Christmas. So I thought that it came out pretty cute, I thought, you know. So that's finish number 1. Finish number 2 is a shepherd's bush. Sew a needle pulling thread, and it was a little kit. And this had a lot of backstitch in it, and I think I flexed my backstitch muscle because I'm not great at backstitching, and I feel like I did pretty well. So I think it came out very cute. And actually, my grandmother asked me for this. She has never asked me for anything in all of the years I have been stitching. I've made her stuff, but she's never asked specifically for anything. So when I'm done filming this, I'm going to go downstairs and give this to her. So I really just want to sing the song for you, but I'm not going to put you through that. So that's finish number 2. And then finish number 3 is a WIP. And initially I said last time that I was going to finish this one and then not do any more of them. And then I really enjoyed stitching this. I have not enjoyed any of the other 3 I've done. This one I really enjoyed. And it is Country Cottage Needleworks Glitter House number 5, and it's the church. So cute. Finished it last night. I did leave off the fence at the bottom, And now I wish I would have left the fence off all of them. I left it off because I don't enjoy doing the fence on any of them. And also because it was a church, and I don't think churches should have fences, although my church has hedges. But it's probably closing anyway, so what does it matter? It's fine. Everything's great. Anyway, this is on 32 count opalescent using the DMC conversion. And then I also did make one change, and I'll show that to you in a second. So there's my finish. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I love it. I love those stained glass windows. I think they came out so cute. Love it. So the only change I made is the church was supposed to be white, but my church is stone. And I was not going to go to the trouble of like trying to make a stone church. There are cross-stitch patterns with stone churches. But I did pull out Color and Cotton, and this is from my Frogworts either year, I don't know what year, one or two, well, I don't know what year, but it's soap. It's a Birdie Bots Every Flavor bean. And it is like a grayish purpley blue. You can kind of see the purple in there against my shirt. So there it is against my white shirt. So that's the color I did the church. And I really like it. I think the white was kind of stark for a church. So anyway, that is Glitter House number 5. And now I'm tempted to keep it as a WIP and do the rest of them. Why am I like this? And there's the other, here's one of the ones I did. And the other one. So I think what I'll actually do is go through, see if there's any more that I really like, and do those. I own them. I don't have to sell them right away. There's no great rush. But I am going to mark that off as a WIP. And I'll just leave it's DMC floss, so I will just leave that with the patterns, but I will file it all away in my patterns. And then here's the floss. So those are my 3 finishes for the week. And then I'm going to show you my small that I've been working on, because that's obviously a WIP, but it's not on I don't put my smalls on the master list. So it is from one of the cross stitcher magazines, and it is this. And I'm actually going to do 2 of this. I'm going to make this one, and then with the called for colors, and then I'm going to change the birds so that they are red cardinals. So I'm just going to change the like orangey color to red. My dear friend is getting married on December 23rd, and her theme is cardinals. So I will stitch this into a card for her, because it's a card, which it came with, and I'm hoping I'll be able to find another card to attach. So it did come with this little button. So anyway, this is like at the most an hour's worth of work, but likely, yeah, I guess probably about an hour. And I just have to finish that C there, and then I will go through and do the rest of the gray accents, and then I'll put the birds in. I'm really enjoying that, and I have been monitoring how much floss I'm using, and I do have enough to do, just enough to do another one, whereas I might be short like a stitch or 2 in some colors, and I would just, like for the letters, I might be short a little bit, and I would just lengthen the one blue to compensate. So anyway, that's my small that I'm currently working on, and I don't normally do WIPs twice, but I am going to do that one twice. And then I'm not starting this for a long time. Maybe if Vanna pulls, so in Vanna's latest Flosstube, she showed off her, I think she's doing Lavender and Lace Santa in the Forest. I'm doing Lavender and Lace Christmas Spirit, which you'll see soon enough. But she was trying to figure out what she was going to work on next, and she mentioned Madonna in the Garden, and I was like, if you pull her out, I'll start her. But I need fabric. So I got all the DMC last week at Michael's. There was a lot, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of beads in her, so that's good. The color I wanted to do for the fabric is this one. This is a picture of a obviously completed one on Pinterest, and it's from, the color is Snowy Mountain, and it's from a fabric dyer in the UK, and I'm unclear if they ship to the US. So I was like, I have a lot of stash, like I do, and it calls for 32 count dapple gray linen. I'm not doing that. So I found and it needs to be 10 by 16 3/4. So really like 10 by 17. So 16 by 23-ish to give yourself 3-inch margin, which I don't really need for framing, but that's the rule of thumb. So I found 2 pieces of fabric. This is a 28 count dyed by Rolanda. And I think it's too, this is what I'm doing Firefly Fairies on actually, except I'm doing the 36 count. So I don't really want to do this one because I'm already using it for something else in a different size. But this is what I was gonna do Firefly Fairies on, and you'll be able to see that I still have some of the, there's the start from the first time I did Firefly Fairies. And this is a 36 count, and I think it was a Russian dyer. And it's like a gray, blue, opalescent. That's pretty true. And I think it would be really pretty on that. So let me know what you think. Should I try to order from the UK? Should I use one of those? What are your thoughts? I had kicked around not using opalescent. Well, I hadn't planned to use opalescent, and then when I found the colors, I was like, oh, that'll be pretty. So anyway, that's my question. If you would pick either of those, which would it be? And now, 12 minutes in, let's get to my WIP Parade. To recap, for the beginning of the year, I made a list of all of my WIPs, planned new starts. And I was planning by the end of the year to have 20 WIPs. As of right now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I have, I think, 18. So I have not yet started Frogwarts Year 2. I'll start that in the second half of the year. I might start that on Harry Potter's birthday. Haven't decided yet. So it's a band. So I haven't started that. And then my other new start for this year that I hadn't started is Coffee Quaker by Heartstring, and I have decided not to start that this year. And I may start the Lord of the Rings piece by Modern Folk Embroidery that I dyed the fabric for, but I have not decided that yet. So I have touched most of my WIPs this year, and I think the couple that I haven't touched, I had touched at the end of last year, and they are on my radar to start. So we are going to go in order, although I put the, hang on. Ooh. I have such a mess. It's disgusting. So it's not really in order, but it's in order for me. So my first is going to be my Prairie Schoolers. So my entire collection of Prairie Schoolers and floss is in this bag here. Sorry, I have to put these away. So technically this is not a WIP, but I will pick this up in July. So I will be picking up Prairie Schooler 1994, and I will be using the 18 count oatmeal Ada with the called for DMC. July for me, I'm doing all Christmas. I am going to be in the hospital for a couple days for a med change, and I'm hoping I don't need an IV, but I don't know. If I don't need an IV, I am going to just bring 2 Prairie Schooler Santas because they're easy to see, easy to count, very few colors. They're a great travel project. So definitely in July, these will be the smalls I'm working on. Then my second is Fireflies by Lavender and Lace, which you saw 2 weeks ago, unless you don't normally watch, and then welcome to my WIP Parade. This is Fireflies by Lavender and Lace. I am using the called for DMC. I'm in the process of ordering. I'm going to get the Krynic and the beads from Everything Cross Stitch, but I just haven't hit checkout yet. I spent a lot of money today, like a lot. So, new car key and groceries for Father's Day. So anyway, this is actually that fabric that I just showed you. It's hand dyed by Rolanda, but this is a 36 count and it is opalescent. And I have a huge start on this, let me tell you. Whew. That's it. It's a lot of stitches though. These are very stitch heavy patterns. So that is WIP number 1, and actually it's going, I have my project roll out on the floor so that my project can go right on the roll because I'm not going to fold the fabric anymore. That's why I made the project rolls. Okay, so next is the Winter Rose Manor with Thy Needle and Thread, and I'm hoping to work on this in 2 weeks. So this week, well, it doesn't matter. I'm hoping to work on this in 2 weeks. So here's Winter Rose Manor. This is by With Thy Needle and Thread. I started this in December of 2021. I am using a Picture This Plus 32 count Bramble. And I am using a conversion to silk floss, which are so fun. And they are handdyedfibers.com, but I don't remember who the actual dyer is. But they are beautiful. And then I have the conversion right in the top so I don't lose it. I had initially started a Lindy Stitches piece on this, and I still have to finish pulling that out to save the rest of the fabric. But here's what I have so far. I think I worked on this in December of last year. So pretty. I am doing 1 floss. No, I'm not. I'm doing 2 flosses, 2 strands, over 2. I hope I have enough floss. I think I will. It's a big house. It's 32 count. I would have, and that's what it's called for. So she would have sold me enough. It's fine. And I'm actually going to leave this out. No, I'm not. I'm going to leave this out. I'm going to finish ripping out the Lindy Stitches on it, actually. And that's in a little bag I made myself and quilted. Okay, next is my monthly samplers. So I don't have one of these started, but they are on a 16 count Mystery Ada. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them done. So the next one will be, I think, June, and I'm hoping to get that done by the end of the year, and then next year actually focus on them. So this is the next one I have to do, June, and I will be using the DMC conversion, which is what I normally use. I'm a DMC kind of girl. If I have the fancy floss, I use it, but I usually don't, even though I seem to have quite the collection. So there's that. Next is the Prayer of St. Francis by My Big Toe Designs. I am doing this a little differently. I started this in 2022 on Ash Wednesday, and it was right when the war in Ukraine was starting, and the sermon the week that the war started, they used this song and they sang it, and it was part of the sermon, and I was just like, okay. I am using DMC 154, and you can see here I've already almost used a whole thing of floss. And let me show you a picture of it. So it's very big. It's 257 by 304, but it's not a very big picture. So I'm doing mine in one color instead of all of the colors like she did hers. And then I may leave out this big flower section, because since I'm only using one color, I don't think it will really show up. So I have worked on this year, and I worked all the way across, and then I was able to trim my fabric. I am using, what am I using for this? Let me check. That's why I wanted to go in order. Prayer of St. Francis is number 5. Details. It's on winter white, and I don't know who dyed it. And it is, I think a 32 count. So here's what, I love the winter white. It's perfect for this. I actually bought this fabric to do Long Dog Sampler's Pandemic, but I wanted to do this more. And I would love to finish this and get it framed for my grandmother. That's because her name is Frances, so that's the hope. But I need to get stitching. She's 87. Okay. Next is the Harvest, which you've also seen recently, and this is just throwing stuff around. The Harvest is on a 28 count stony point using the beautiful called for DMC. I love these colors so much. This is Told in a Garden. That's what it will hopefully look like. And so far I have done that giant tree and the quilt. Beautiful. I love this piece. And it's very soothing to work on because it's 28 count. It's easy to see, 2 strands. I've got nice coverage. Love this. I loved doing that quilt. It took a little longer. I thought it would be really fast. And it wasn't like super slow. It just wasn't as I expected it to take like a day, and it took a couple. But I also don't stitch as much as I'd like. Do any of us? All right. Next is, Kringles. So Kringles, we all remember when this came out as COVID was starting at Market, and I've never ordered anything so fast. I ordered it sitting in Independence in the Constitution Center with Mark while he was preparing for a trip. He was working and I was shopping. Love this piece. Started it in, I don't know actually, but need to do more work on it. I am using the Called For Flosses and Parisian Gray fabric. The Called For, I think it's 30, let's check. .30 count. So there's the flosses. And so far I have the roof completed. So I love that. One of the things I really enjoyed about the first 6 months of this year has been that I have been able to touch all my projects. You know, you pick these things out because you love them, and then I start them, and then I never seem to get to working on them. So what's been really fun is in 6 months, I've worked on everything. Now I think my plans for the rest of the year are going to change a little bit, but we shall see. Okay, we're getting there, guys. Next is Coming to America. I did not this is in a Coming to America bag. I did not pre-order this when it first came out. I was like, nah, I don't know if I really want to stitch that. And then it came out, and I had such, FOMO, that I found it. A store happened to have some left, and I got it. So this is Coming to America with Thy Needle and Thread. I got it kitted up at a store in Baltimore, which I love. The owner's name is Dreama, and I can never ever remember what the store is called. So I'm using the called for flosses, or if she couldn't get them because it was 2020, I have substitutions. And I'm doing pretty well on this now. Once I started working on it. But my plan is to I'm leaving the names off. So this section of names here, I'm leaving those off. Much as I love to do letters, I don't know anybody who came over on the Mayflower. My people got here very recently on my Carney side of the family, so the Polish and the Irish and the Germans have been here longer, but definitely not since 1620. So here's what I have done so far. I love it. I was hoping, so I have a kind of tentative list of what I want to finish this year, and this was tentatively on it, but we shall see. Because I'll tell you finally, I allude that my plan is changing. My plan for the rest of the year is to work on things that I can finish before the end of the year. I want to get my WIP count down, but there's so many things I want to stitch, so I want to get rid of some of the WIPs so I can start new things. There's no police, though. I can start as many things as I want. Okay, so that's Coming to America. And it was also, the other thing is, like that one, I have so much fabric on there that I would like to cut off, but I'm scared to cut it off until I know where the bottom is going to be. So, okay. Next is Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow, which is in this beautiful project folder. All right. We've all seen this before. This is by Carriage House Sampling. It's absolutely gargantuous. I will probably be working on this until I'm 60, which is in 24 years, right? Yeah. I hope not, but I probably will be. I am using the DMC for this. It calls for silk, so I'm doing the conversion. Look at all those colors. Could you imagine trying to kit that up in silk? I do need to get a different ring because I don't like this one. And for this one, my goal for the first 6 months of the year had been to finish the border. And after having to rip out the bottom box 3 times, I both finished the border and finished it correctly, which felt like quite the win. I guess I'm probably gonna have to get up to show this to you, huh? Nope, I got it. So that's what I have done. My plan now, today, since I have it out, is to trim it. Because I mean, that's a lot of fabric there that I could do something on. And I am using for that, let's see if I have it written down. I just have 40 count. I feel like it's a vintage country mocha, but I could be wrong. And I have apparently lost the sticker. I got it from 123 Stitch. It was a birthday gift to myself. Next is Celtic Autumn. This was a tentative. I'm hoping to finish it this year. I doubt it, though. I am doing a color conversion on this that I got online. So this is the lady I'm doing. And here are the most beautiful autumnal colors. I mean, they are just like magic. It is feasible that I could get this done because I have the border done except for the beads, which I do have. Right? Don't I? Yeah, I can hear them. Where are they? So I have all the beads. There's a lot of them. My long-term goal is to do all of the Celtic Ladies, so I have just enough fabric. I didn't cut this. This is how I got it. But just enough. Probably should have only given myself a smaller border at the top. So the thing is, I have the outline done in the gold of the skirt. And so really the rest of it, because I have that done, it's just like fill in. You can see that the gold is the complicated part. So feasibly, I could get this done by the end of the year. So this is on the short list of things I'd like to get done. So that's two things that I am suffering under a delusion that I can get done in the next 6 months. And I am using, she's my oldest WIP. And I am using 32 count Belfast taupe. Little cat, it's the little cat conversion. That's where I got it online. And the DMC, like I said. This is going to be one of my 2 focus pieces for July. And this is, excuse me, Lavender and Lace Christmas Spirit. Where is its picture? I feel like I have this conversation every time I work on this, that I lose the picture. So for this, I'm using a 32 count natural linen. And apparently I have lost the picture of it, but it is Santa, obviously. Huh. Oh, found it. So there it is. I will not finish this year, but it is going to be a focus piece for July. And I have the border pretty much completed on both sides. I think this time, let's see. So I need to finish the border over here. So the border here needs finished. And then I hope in July to start Santa. I love the use of the colors in this. I just think it's so beautiful. So, so beautiful. And then it looks like I did not add any of the candles on this side yet, so I have to do that. I'll do them all at once. The candles over here, because you can see over here I have the candles done. So I'm gonna finish, well, I'll show it to you, but I'm planning to finish a piece in July, a Christmas piece that's a gift, And when that's done, this will become the focus for the rest of the month. And I'm actually quite excited to work on this because I love this piece. And that is my second oldest WIP, which was started in December of 2020. Okay, we're getting there, guys. Nantucket Rose is next. This is another lavender and lace lady because I have no chill. She's a stunner. I have worked on this year. I'm using the called for DMCs, again, of which there are many. And I am using Stonewashed Lugana 32 count for this. And this is the one that I figured out, hang on, that I figured out I hadn't left enough of a margin on one side, but we're just gonna fudge it because we're not ripping it out. So here's what I have done so far. This is on a roller frame. So, looking good. No rush on this one. Just happy to be working on it. Can't rush through everything. And then my next one was Glitter Village, which you have seen. And then this is what I'll be focusing on starting on Monday. This is Forest Embroidery Railway Station. And I hope to someday give this to Mark, because we always go on train trips together. I am using the called for flosses, which a friend very generously sent to me. There's only 3 colors. And she did not have a ton of any of the colors, so I am being as chintzy as possible, and I am using a 40 count, so it's nice and small. And this is what I have done so far. I worked on this in December when I had COVID. It was a good COVID piece. So starting on Monday, I will be pulling that back out because I work on Jesus on the weekends. Okay, next is my pitiful start on Plum Street Samplers George Decorates for Martha. Here's the pattern. It's a nice fall piece. My brother kitted this up for me. Well, he got me the floss. I got the fabric I had in stash. So I'm using the called for colors. Thank you, Berkey. And it's a mix of DMC and One Classic Colorworks and Weeks. And the fabric is, do I have it written down? I don't think I do, but we'll check. I don't. It's a 18 count by Bestitch Me. I know that. I just don't remember the color. And all I have is this done. There's like nothing done. But that's okay. And this I'm not keeping in my project roll because it's small enough that it fits without having to fold it. But it's a start, and we'll get there eventually. But that's why I don't want to start another ton of things, because I do like to finish stuff. All right. Next is And to All a Good Night by Lindy Stitches, which is in this wonderful Happy New Year bag that Jen got me. This was my, I think it was my new, yeah, it was my New Year New Start this year. I started on the 1st. And this is that pattern. And did I get the floss pack for this? I am using a 20 count with the polka dots Ada. And that's what I have so far. It calls for the dots to, the one she uses, the dots are smaller and further apart, but I already have this in the stash. And looks like I am using the DMC and the Weeks, so I must have bought the floss pack from her. So the house color is in the Weeks. There's that. I will not be getting this done this year. The next piece I am planning to finish, I have to finish it this year. I'm actually planning to finish it next month so I can decide what I'm going to do about framing it. And that is Stitchrovia, Santa's Coming. And that's the one that for me looks like Santa Claus is Coming to Town, which is one of my favorite cartoons at Christmas. So I'm making this for my friend Sarah, who always comes and spends Christmas with us. So there's the piece, and I am 50% done, which is why I think I can finish it pretty quickly. I am using a 14 count opalescent that I got at like Hobby Lobby. I'm so mad at Hobby Lobby right now. But anyway, that's what I have done. I love it. The reason there's a couple places at the beginning where they're not quite filled in, and that's because I had to order some of the floss. I am doing, you could do Anchor or DMC for this, and I decided to do the Anchor because I had a full set, and it turns out that I was missing from my full set 5 colors, and instead of getting them on, they didn't sell them in the lovely little spools, so I got these. So that's the Anchor, and then you can't really see them, but that's the other Anchor colors in this piece. And that will be my July focus. And I do like the coverage a lot on Anchor. That's 2 strands, obviously over 1 because it's Aida. And I think it covered beautifully. And I'm glad that I had to do a lot of backstitching for the a needle pulling thread piece, because there's a lot of backstitch to do that Santa. So I feel a little better about the backstitching. All right, and then my last one has become quite the focus piece. I think I'm gonna enter him into our local county, but not county, like area fair. So I need to finish it. And I'm going to frame it myself because I feel like if I'm going to enter it, I should be the one who did everything. And that is Jesus by Vervaco, I think is how you say it. I am using the fabric that came in the kit, and then I'm using Vanna's DMC conversion. And I'm actually making good progress with this. Luckily, I had to use my Dubco scroll rod for this, and it grows, so I'm able to look at his whole face. So since you guys saw it last, I had this like cream down here done. I've added in all of this dark color, all of this, and then last Sunday I was working up in here. So instead of just working on this on Sundays, I'm working on it on Saturday and Sunday. But I don't get a ton of stitching time, so I'm just doing the best I can to get it done fairly quickly. The fair is in August, so I have plenty of time, but I also want it done because I love it, you know, and by deciding that I would put it in the fair, like, and being very, like, I've been very careful with my back because of that. But because I have a end date that I want to have it done for, which is good because I want it. I have to go through the attic. I'm hoping I have a lot of antique frames because this is an old house, and I'm hoping to have an antique frame up there that I love, and that's what he'll go in. But yeah, I think that I have a good plan for the rest of the year, which is I want to finish Jesus. I want to finish Santa's Coming. I want to finish Celtic Autumn and Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow. So I feel like that's not I mean, that's only 4 pieces in 6 months. I know they're all big pieces, but most of them are at least halfway done or very close to halfway done. So that's my plan. When I finish Jesus, I will have a new start. And that'll be the Blessed Mother with the lilies that I've showed you a couple times. And then when she's done, I will start Madonna in the Garden, unless Vanna picks hers up, and then I'll start it sooner. Because why not? What's one more? But yeah, I think I'm at 17 or 18 WIPs, which is not too bad. Anyway, I know this was a longer video. Thanks for sticking it out with me. It's always fun to get to chat with you all and catch up. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. I hope you enjoyed this mid-year WIP parade, and I look forward to talking to you probably the weekend before the 4th of July. So stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.